Now, the first ever audit, which will find out the number of people in England who are suffering secondary breast cancer, is to begin shortly, funded by NHS England. It's something charities and patients have been campaigning for a decade, as it's vital for the planning of services and simply to understand the scale of the experience of secondary breast cancer. Jo Taylor is the founder of ABC Diagnosis After Breast Cancer Diagnosis. She has been campaigning for this for a number of years. Jo, thank you very much for being with us on BBC News. You're obviously pleased about this. Why do you think it is so important?
Massively important. As you said, I've been campaigning for over 7 years to count secondary breast cancer patients. There was a mandatory collection of data around about 15 years ago, and it's not happened. We need this because it will give better treatments, better access to drugs. We'll know how many people are actually living with the disease, whereas we've only got an estimate at the moment. It is like having COVID and you're saying, how many patients are actually living with COVID and you don't know. It's pretty unbelievable that we're still not counting secondary breast cancer patients.
Is it? I mean, is in a sense, is this part of the problem in terms of the way our health system operates at the moment? I mean, the Prime Minister talked about wanting to move it towards a preventative health system, but at the moment it's often about patching up and treating people who have illnesses and conditions. And if you know you can't patch up and treat this thing beyond because it is going to be terminal, do you think that has kind of skewed the attitude in the health service towards secondary cancers like this?
Well, if they give us the better treatments and the drug access, the radiotherapies, the surgeries that we need, then actually we can live longer. And one of the campaigns we did was Busy Living with Mets, meaning that if we get all these services, then we can actually live longer. And it also, about the outcomes as well. Boris Johnson mentioned the other day that outcomes aren't important. Outcomes are very important because that's linked to survival. And we can live longer if we get all these things, but that also links to data. If we don't have the data, then we don't have these services, we don't have the drugs, we don't have the clinical trials.
And the sad thing for many of those who are currently living with a secondary cancer as you are, is that they won't be around to see the benefits of this decision.
May not be, no. You have a 2 to 3 median life expectancy, so some people live shorter, some people live longer. I've been living with the disease for 7 years, so there is evidence there that people, certain people with certain types of breast cancer can live longer. But again, we need to be counted. We need to know that. We only find out, how many people die from the disease, and that's not acceptable. We need to count the living. We need all these things to help our survival.
What advice would you offer to men and women? Because, you can get breast cancer as a man or a woman. What advice would you offer them about understanding the risks of secondary breast cancer and what they can do if they suddenly have found themselves in this situation?
When you have primary breast cancer, a lot of patients are unaware of the risk of reoccurrence. So it's actually the oncologist should have that open discussion with them about, where it will reoccur. I actually have created a chart which explains that, and you can find that on my website, abcdiagnosis.co.uk. But that, again, tells you where it will, secondary breast cancer will travel to. And it's understanding that, and that's what people need to know. GPs need to know that. We're being failed by GPs. The red flag symptoms that is talked about recently. The same is, for secondary cancers. We need to know about these red flag symptoms, because if not, things are missed. And GPs are general. They don't know everything about cancer, so it can be missed and, talked about as if it's something else. It could be, some other kind of disease that perhaps they don't, just not aware of. So
Thank you very much, Jo Taylor of After Breast Cancer Diagnosis. The website is ABC Diagnosis, all one word, .co.uk. Jo, thank you very much.
Thank you.